Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
Come on into your own place. Oh my gosh, y'all. Weird Mountain is so beautiful this time of year because it's still, the trees are still asleep mostly. Except the maples are just starting to color up a little bit. And the daffodils, they burn your eyes. They're so bright. And we got both the doors open, so there's a breeze blowing through. It's just lovely. And I'm sorry for any of you that are not enjoying a perfect spring day like we are.
I mean to tell you, no matter what your version of it is, it doesn't get any better than this.
It's just lovely, lovely.
Should I tell them about yesterday?
Sure.
So we had originally planned to come out and record the show yesterday from the porch or from the cottage. And I, for once, got here a tiniest little bit early. And Byron's schedule was so packed that we ended up communicating about 20 minutes later. But that I was already asleep on the porch. It was so beautiful. That's what I actually want to tell y'all. I couldn't help myself. I just sat down in the rocking chair. And I said, well, I'll wake up when her car door shuts.
And we had got our wires crossed, and I thought we were doing a Zoom. And she was sitting down here on the porch, and I was sitting at home. I hadn't brushed my hair, washed my face. I was just sitting there at the computer, just waiting for it to show up.
And I was here snoring away on your porch. So, it was nice, though. Gosh, I was listening to that murder of crows up there.
It was so funny. I refuse to call them a murder.
Why?
Because they're not murderous. They're just a family.
They're not murderous unless you start messing with one of their youngins.
Well, aren't we all murderous?
Yes, actually, yes.
I just call them families. It's family of crows, family of crows.
Well, there's a family of crows, but in my brain, it was a murder.
And that's just me. I just don't call them that.
No. You've had a long relationship with crows, I can tell.
I have, and my grandmother had a pet crow when I was little. I don't remember it because it died before I was old enough to be too cognizant.
Wow.
But she'd had it for years, and it would steal things from people.
Nice.
It would steal hairpins out of ladies' hair and steal their jewelry, and she'd find them in the keys to the piano.
Oh.
The piano would be sticking, and she'd go, what is going on? And she'd kind of jigger it around a little bit. And then she'd pull out a necklace. She'd pull out some hairpins. This very piano, too.
This piano?
Yes, ma'am.
It could have some crow offerings in it as we speak.
Even as we speak.
That's so cool. I love that. Well, I've only had one thing ever brought to me by a crow. And it was here. I think it was last winter or winter before last. And it was like the top of a soda can or something. But still, hey, I knew exactly what it was. And I very much appreciated it. So I was dozing off on the porch yesterday, and I'd hear a crow over in this direction. Just caw, caw, Then I'd hear a crow over in this other direction. And I heard about 5 or 6 different voices of crows. And I realized at some point that it was kind of like sonar. That they were just kind of going, hey, y'all, I'm over here. Just letting you know. Hey, y'all, here I am. And they seemed calm and happy and they were just living their best crow life. And it was restful. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. How nice.
Yeah, that's the sound of my childhood.
Yeah.
To hear these crows. And then if I heard a little bzzz of some airplane, which they don't buzz like that anymore because they don't have propellers, I don't think.
It's like a little 2-seater.
Yeah. They had an airport over at Andrews.
Oh, yeah.
And they
Don't
used
they
to.
still?
Oh, I'm sure they do,
Yeah.
And so we would hear these little old biplanes just in the afternoon, That was so nice. Or hear a fan and some crows. That'll put me out too real fast.
Well, but you just took a nap. Good for you.
What can you say? It's better than getting in on the computer and getting paranoid from a bunch of conspiracy theories.
Oh, golly, bum. Just thought it was safe to go back on social media. This morning it's like, oh my God, it's Armageddon. Oh, it's World War III. And you can go ahead and crow this out. He needs to be stopped. But how does worrying everybody to death about it being World War III help anything? Does it? No.
No, I think instead of worrying, people would be better if we just calmly explained why it'd be a good idea to get your together now. Excuse me, to get your poop in a group now.
Right. Crow, crow, crow. We use the crows to cover up our meanness.
But everybody knows.
Everybody knows. When they hear crows, they can figure out. If they could see us, they could read our lips and go, oh, I know what she's saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
I bet they could probably figure it out anyway, most likely.
I think they probably could.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. No, I've just been, I've been amazed with conspiracy theories lately because I'm not well versed in them. I don't go to a lot of media outlets that promulgate, there's your nice big word, promulgate that information. And somebody put something on my Facebook page in answer to something I'd posted, and it was some kind of just BS, or as I like to think of it, uncompostable BS. Because BS is good stuff if you can put it in with some strong composting. Anyway, and I read it, and I went, oh, all right. And I said, well, what are your sources on this? And she posted some YouTubes, and I said, no. I need to know your sources on this. Was it on YouTube? Was it on YouTube in like 1984? It's from 1984. What is it? Well, if you need to find your own sources. And I said, I got my own sources, and they ain't saying none of this BS.
Well, I almost think that you hit on something right there, because back when I was a kid, all those many decades ago.
Many moons ago.
There were conspiracy theories. We had them.
Yes.
We had all kinds of unexplained mysteries. That was a big deal. Mm-hmm. Spontaneous combustion.
Well, we have talked about this before. Spontaneous human combustion.
Oh, yes.
But I'm going to look up now what Dickens that's in, because it's in one of Dickens' books. Yes, ma'am.
Well, we had those theories. We had theories that there were UFOs among us. We had theories that the government was covering up UFOs. But, we didn't have any, or I don't remember, is what I should say. I don't remember any conspiracy theories that were directly harmful to other people or a group of other people. They were just kind of vague entertainment.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I'm thinking, I guess, the earliest conspiracy theory that I was aware of, and I was little, but I remember my parents talking about it, was who killed Kennedy.
Right.
Now, Kennedy died probably before you were even born.
1963,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or 64.
63. And I was little. I was sent home from elementary school because the president had been assassinated, so I was little.
Wow.
But I remember them talking about it. They talked about it for years because a new theory would come out all the time. Well, it was the FBI. Well, it was the CIA. Mm-hmm. Well, it was communists. Well, it was always a new theory about what it was.
The mystery of it is still around.
Oh, yes. And every once in a while something new comes out. The mystery has been solved.
Right. But that was interesting, but it didn't seem like it was downright harmful.
No.
It was more entertaining. And so somewhere along the way, we went from Bigfoot to whatever.
Loch Ness Monster,
things I don't understand.
Or the Brown Mountain Lights, which both of us have seen many times. So we'll go beyond that. Anyway, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we went from that.
And that stuff doesn't hurt anybody, because if you believe in it, people may think you're a crank or a loony, but they're not trying to keep you out of church because you believe something they don't believe about Bigfoot.
Right.
But yeah, now it just feels so mean-spirited.
Feels manipulated.
And manipulated.
Yeah, and so I don't really trust any of the theories much.
No, me neither.
What I observe, and really the best answer for it, because I was one of those people who hated the mysteries. I wanted to know everything. So I would get out there and look for a UFO or look for Bigfoot or whatever, dive into the software about Kennedy. But with this, I don't want to do any of that. I don't, because I understand that there's something going on, and it's so much bigger than me that I'm probably never going to understand it. So what I do, and best example, best answer I've ever seen for that was what you said, circles on the ground. So it's like, okay, there's something going on. Let me dig in and do what I can do here locally. Did you hear about those people who are renting VRBOs in Ukraine for like $10 or $20 a night so that they can give those people some income?
Yes, my buddy Charlie, who I presided over his wedding, he was saying last night that he had reserved a vacation spot, like an Airbnb thing, and I don't remember if it was in Kyiv or where was it, somewhere in the Ukraine, and he had explained to the person who owned it. He said, "Oh, I'm not coming. I just want to make sure you have a little extra money." And she was so delighted. And then she said, "Well, thank you. Now, do you mind canceling so I can offer those dates again?" So I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah. That's so good, though. And I guess it was Airbnb or VRBO or something.
I don't know. One of those. There's so many just beautiful things that are coming out of this horror and this tragedy. And one of them, my friend Lauren raises draft horses, and she was saying that people in Poland were telling their people in Ukraine that had horses that they would stable their horses. If you can get the horses here, we'll stable them for you. And then there was somebody who said, if you can't get out, we'll bring a trailer and get your horse and get you and bring you out.
Wow.
So yeah, and half of that stuff, I don't know if I can believe it or not, because it's like a friend of my brother-in-law's friend's sister's mother's uncle. It's that kind of weird telephone tag thing. But it gives me heart. Like the story that the captured Russian soldiers, the first thing they did was give them something to eat, and then they let them call their mamas. Mm. And I just thought, if you got to have a war, that's how you need to do it. Now, whether that's really going on or it's propaganda, I don't know. But I filed that away.
You know what I filed away? And I think you were the one who posted it. Speaking of conspiracy theories, so for years, or urban legends, let's call this one, for years, everybody has assumed or thought or tried to prove that Stevie Nicks was a witch. And Stevie Nicks, every time somebody asked her, she goes, "Well, no, I'm not a witch." And I've always had the feeling that she was just messing with everybody because she dresses like one, and she sings like one, and she dances like one. And so, you know what they say. If it smells like, and it walks like, and it talks like, probably is. But she posted that journaling that she called it.
It was really beautiful.
Yes,
if y'all haven't seen it, go look for it.
Oh yeah, Byron's got it up on her page. Did you put it on Wyrd Gals?
No, I did not. That didn't feel like a Wyrd Gals thing.
Well, Byron's got it on her page, or you can look it up. But she was posting a direct message to Putin.
Yes.
And and she was talking about ghosts and what he was going to have to live with. And it sure sounded like she was trying to hex.
It sure did. Well, and that little woman that came up to the soldier, and said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "Well, we're just doing exercises." And she said, "You don't belong here." And then she said, "Here, you should take some sunflower seeds and put them in your pocket, so at least when your dead body's on the ground in this land, you'll grow something useful." She didn't say it like that, but that was the
I hadn't heard
study
that.
of it. Oh yeah, here have some sunflower seeds. Our national flower will bloom from your body. But, I mean, it's like a movie, and maybe it is a movie.
Terrible movie.
Maybe we don't know. Maybe it is a movie. Who knows? There's your conspiracy. It's all a movie.
It's all a movie. Well, it's all a digital thing.
It's all AI.
You know I'm going to say that, right?
You know it.
Because I wonder sometimes.
Well, and there's the stuff about that people were changing the street signs so it confused the soldiers
And
what
cutting
was
them
it?
down.
And that they had changed some of the signs that said, "F yourself, F yourself again, F yourself all the way back to Russia."
Hadn't actually heard that one either.
And there was the island that had, I don't know, like a dozen Ukrainian soldiers on it, and this warship appeared and said, "We are a Russian warship," and the answer to them was, "F yourself, Russian warship." So that is apparently an action that they often speak of in the Ukraine, about effing yourself.
I think it's a real good sentiment. Probably.
I'd be glad to say that to a lot of the politicians in this country.
I can think of a couple. My mom reminded me of you the other day. Something she said. I'm not going to get into it because it was just too much for our listeners' delicate ears. But it reminded me a lot of you.
I know. I'm your mother's secret daughter.
You're yes, and I wouldn't be surprised either.
Because we just have all that stuff going on.
It's crazy. It is. Hey, so I've had a goddess come to my attention since all of this. It's Berhinia. She's the protectress of the home for Ukraine and of children as well. And so I wonder if there's something that we could advise people to do that are interested in talking with her.
Well, I posted a lot about that on my Facebook page last week, and I guess I could tell people that what happened, how I dove into all this Ukraine stuff, is that I was listening to the BBC when they announced that the Russians had begun the attack on Ukraine. And that's when that prayer came that I've been having. I've been updating almost every day as the moon changes.
Yeah.
But that's when that happened. And it just sort of came in, the way sometimes words just come in your head. And someone had posted a picture of one of the main, I think it's even called Freedom Square in Kyiv. And there's this tall statue that's on a tall pillar that was erected when Ukraine became a sovereign country in 1991 after the Soviet Union broke up. And on the top of it, the statue is of Berhinia, which I think is how that's pronounced. If not, one of y'all would tell us. And she is, it is a very Orthodox country. And so they don't think of her as a goddess necessarily. They think of her as the spirit. They don't think of her as a goddess necessarily because it is a very, very Orthodox country. But they think of her as the spirit of freedom of Ukraine. The same way we have the Statue of Liberty, and not a lot of people would consider Lady Liberty a goddess, but she is the spirit of the United States.
How long has she been in their mythology? Do you know?
I had looked that up, but I really don't. I can't tell you right offhand. But she is. I'm gonna whip through the Wikipedia, and I'll be able to tell you maybe a little bit something about her. But it's a beautiful statue, and it is fired up. Yeah, it has fired up a lot of the pagan folk here because she is a spirit of hearth and home and protecting the homeland and victory. I mean, there's a lot that's attributed to her. And the other spirit person like that, how's that? That is very dear to the hearts of Ukrainians. Two, one is the Archangel Michael.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and the Blessed Virgin. So the three of those together really, it's that magical number 3. They kind of go rushing in together.
Okay. So that does make sense.
But
now, are they primarily Catholic?
No, they're Orthodox.
Okay.
They are Orthodox. In fact, I believe they broke from the Russian Orthodox Church, and now they are Ukrainian Orthodox, which is slightly different. I mean, for me, it's just another flavor of Christian because I'm not one. But and I used to divide Christians into Catholics and Protestants, and there's just you're one or the other, aren't you? Well, no. And then there's Orthodox, and then there's Anglo-Catholic, and there's all. Gosh, if y'all are interested in that, you really need to study up on all the different flavors of Christianity.
That was one of the first. The prayer to Saint Michael was one of the first prayers that you learned in RCIA, the Rites of Christian Initiation for adults. So it's Saint Michael, protect us in battle.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. So
I had a funny conversation with somebody today who said, "Well, if you are missing talking to the fairies," and she sends me some twee little thing about adorable little fairies, and I said, "You know what? I never miss talking to them. When I have to deal with them, it is really hard and they are unpleasant." And she said, "Oh, well, I always thought they were just sort of," and I said, "It's like people think of angels. They think of these sweet little winged beings that are looking over the children and blah, blah. But you remember who guarded the Garden of Eden?
Yeah.
4 archangels with flaming swords, and there was the battle in heaven where angels were tossed down, and they are not twee adorable little things. No more are fairies. That's word to the wise for anybody listening. But the real being that I'm deeply connected with in the Slavic countries is the Baba Yaga, because I did a lot of work with her about 6 years ago.
I remember.
And she's still, I got mortars and pestles all over this place because I love her so much.
Oh.
And she is powerful, and she is, if you can say that a folkloric being is pan-Slavic, she is. So she is not Russian, she's not Ukrainian, she's not Estonian, she's not Belarusian, but she kind of goes through all of that region.
I actually thought she was Russian for some reason.
And isn't that funny that we think a lot of things that are Russian really are Ukrainian? Like those beautiful decorated Easter eggs that we think of as Russian Easter eggs?
Yeah.
They're from the Ukraine.
Well, they're called Russian eggs.
Well, not by the Ukrainians or anybody who knows. They call them Pisenki eggs.
I did not know
That's their name. So I think when Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, it was never part of Russia, but when it was part of the Soviet Union, all that stuff just got absorbed for us because Americans, we're not detail people.
We're not.
It's like, oh, it's just Eastern Europe, It's like, Well, Eastern Europe isn't just one thing. It's like saying Southeast Asia.
There's a gal that I knew, and she was one of my students, and she's a perfectly nice, wealthy person, and I got the feeling that she didn't think very deeply sometimes, which is fine. She was happy. She told me one time that she thought of Europe as just blue and gold and strawberry preserves. And I was like, what? Okay.
Well, that's fine. I guess that's fine.
And she said she just had a hell of a time every time she went to the Ritz-Carlton to stay. That's part of the story, because she quit staying at the Ritz because the Ritz colors are blue and gold, those same blue and gold. And they would serve strawberry preserves in these little blue and gold Ritz-Carlton. She said it was just too European for me. I'm just plainer. I'm more plain than that, or something along those lines. What?
Oh, that's funny.
So
That's
blue and
very
gold.
funny.
Yeah,
Blue
but
and gold.
it's to your point.
Yeah.
The-
Americans, for the most part, we're completely self-focused. And it's all rah-rah, all about America. We're independent. We don't have to depend on nobody to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And that has been to our detriment.
It's also incorrect information.
Well, but boy, getting back to conspiracy theories, there you go. The incorrect information is just all over the
It's
place.
just flying everywhere. And
some of it is so crazy. Like, I think it was David Cohen, the cartoonist, who had done something about two men standing, maybe it wasn't David, was standing at a urinal, and one looked over at the other and said, "Are you going to drink that?" And I was like, "What?" And it was some conspiracy theory, and probably had to do with COVID, I'm guessing, about drinking your own urine. And I just lost it.
Oh my
I
God.
could not. Well, you can tell I can't stop laughing about it now. So it's like, well, if you hear about it on whatever your trusted news channel is, do you just swallow it hook, line, and sinker? I reckon you do.
It depends, because if they're telling me what the traffic is like on 26, then maybe. But
Yeah, but you can always guess what the traffic's like on 26.
yeah, it sucks. Every time you go there. Forever.
Oh, I swear.
Y'all remember that if you're trying to come here and buy something.
I swear, y'all, no matter where I have to go that's southwest of here, I just get on Hendersonville Road, and I get in the right-hand lane like a little old woman, and I just keep driving until I get there.
God.
Because, yes, it's true. I can get wherever that place is in 11 minutes on 26 if everybody on 26 has been raptured up to heaven. That's the only way I'm going to get there in 11 minutes. So I just go down Hendersonville Road or Sweeten Creek until it dumps into Hendersonville Road.
That's what
And I just keep doing like that, because otherwise, like I was coming up from Martin the other day, and I made the mistake of getting on Hendersonville Road instead of 26, and there was a wreck. And somewhere around Turtle Creek, I guess. And so I'm just tootling, la, 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 here we go. And traffic has stopped. It has stopped dead, and I went, what? Did I accidentally get off 26? I thought I was on Hendersonville Road. And then I got up there, and, some pair of jackasses somebody turned in front of somebody else and didn't give enough warning, as people do on Hendersonville Road and everywhere. And so there was a white car that was still mostly all four wheels on the tarmac. And then it obviously had gone underneath like a black SUV.
Boy.
And the black SUV was horizontal across the nose of the white car.
Boy.
And I thought, well, I imagine everybody got out of there with just bumps and bruises. It wasn't the kind that looked like everybody died. But I thought, what jackass pulled right out in front of somebody else. Probably that person was speeding, probably doing 50, 55 miles an hour. And this person went, well, I'm sure I can beat that car. and then you hear, and the shriek of metal against metal.
I hate that sound. I hate that sound. I've seen it. I've been in it. I've been around it. I hate that sound. No. We've got a song the current residents do called the I-26 Blues. So if I can find it, I'll put it up.
Oh, that'll be good.
It's the Asheville I-26 Blues. The nice thing about it is kind of therapy for the audience, because the chorus, you do the chorus, and then all of a sudden there's a dramatic pause, and you point the microphone at somebody and they'll bitch about traffic. It's called a turn signal. Stuff like that. Oh, it's hilarious.
Well, and I think we all bitch about that stuff all the time. I just want you, if you're going to pull right out in front of me, to get your ass out of my way.
Yep.
So pull out, peel out, and then I want to see you on the horizon in about 2.7 seconds. That's how I want that to go. I don't want you to pull your ass right out in front of me and I have to slam on my brakes, and then you go 10 miles below the speed limit till you can get up to speed. Then you just wait at the intersection till I go through.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not in a hurry, then
Obviously not.
they could let your car get by anyway.
Yeah.
We could get started.
I know. Well, and that is why the penis shrinking spell was developed for all those people. And y'all can guess what that looks like, but it begins with me holding up my hands with my thumb and my forefinger very far apart, and I'm looking dead ahead at whoever just pulled out in front of me. And they're looking at me because they always do, looking
out of
in
guilt.
the mirror to see if you're flipping them off. And I'm not flipping them off, and I'm not yelling at them. I got a big old smile on my face, and my fingers are really far apart. And then I bring them close together like that, smiling, and then I drop my smile and I snap my fingers like that, and they know exactly what I just did.
I did it in front of somebody one time, and I watched him go like that.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
I did it.
I taught that to my dental hygienist one time. She said, because I mentioned it on social media, and she said, "All right, I give it. Tell me about it." So I told her what I just said, and she said, "Well, how do you know it works?" And I said, I don't know it works, but I'm assuming it works.
It does work.
And if all it does is make the person in front of me think again before they pull out in front of somebody, then it worked.
It's done its job.
It did its job.
Yeah. So what you gonna do for the rest of the day? You cooking?
I am. I'm gonna go set the mouse trap to catch me some more mice. We've got mice in the house, so I'm trapping them in the little have a heart trap and taking them out. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna clear my dining room table. I'm gonna make a pot of soup.
Ooh, yeah.
My friend Amanda is coming over tomorrow, and we're gonna make motanka dolls. Motanka dolls. Those beautiful Ukrainian folk dolls that have the thread cross across their faces. We're going to make some of those and do a live stream of that. So
nice.
I'm going to do that. I'm just trying to kind of get everything together because I've got, I'm juggling a proposal for one book, so I have to send them some more writing. And I'm working on a book that I've already got a contract on. So books are coming. I was just asked to do the preface and write a piece for another anthology. So I got a lot of writing coming. And I'm leaving town in about, by the time y'all hear it, I'll be leaving town in about 10 days to go to Florida.
I forgot. I was thinking that was the end of the month.
Oh, no, ma'am. I will be there for St. Patrick's Day. And yes, I'm going to take that beautiful bottle of whiskey that y'all gave me for my birthday down to Florida. I'll share it with my buddies.
You need to.
I will.
Gary helped me pick that out. My buddy Gary that you hear me talk about all the time.
Yes, did he really?
He has retired, and he is working part-time at the ABC store just to have something to do. Isn't that nice?
For him.
Yep. And I walked in there, and I said, I need you to pick out blah, 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 blah. And he's the one who picked it. Because, I don't know anything about it. But
good for him. And it's not one I've tried before, so I think it'll be very, very good.
Nice. So, thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. I'm going to ask her after we're recording which ABC store it is so I can go in and say, hey.
Oh, you should.
I'm the one you picked that out for.
Gary knows how I feel about first-time meetings. The first time I ever met him face-to-face, I think I've told this story before, but we had been talking on the phone for, 3 or 4 months. He was my competitor at the hotel. So he was AGM of a Hampton Inn. I was the AGM of a Comfort Inn. They were both pretty new properties. And I'd call him every day and get, hey, so what's your stats? And he'd call and get ours. Mm-hmm. And we became friends. Back then, there was a busy season and a non-busy season.
Yeah.
It was a slow season. So then we made it through the busier season. And I will never forget, Halloween came. And I dressed, I don't know why, but I decided it would be cool to dress up like a gorilla. A full monkey suit.
You are so weird.
And the gal I worked with was dressed up as a witch. Of course, yes. And for whatever reason, we just thought that was the funniest thing ever. And we went over to the Hampton Inn, and as we were because I knew he was working there, and it was time we met. And we came up to the front desk, and he just lost it. He was laughing. And I remember Laura, that was her name, she asked him, she says, excuse me, do you accept pets? and he just lost it.
Oh, how funny. How funny.
Yep. We knew we were destined to be buds. But Gary started listening to the podcast some when he walks in the park.
Oh, yeah.
So it's strange.
So he's going to hear his name and know.
Yeah.
And girls talking about me again, them Weird Mountain Gals.
We need to get him to tell us some dirt on some rentals and real estate stuff in this area because he's retired now.
Oh.
And he can.
Yeah, so Gary, we need to sit you down, buddy. Maybe make you some supper one night.
Yeah. Don't say it. He'll be here then. Okay. So now you'll get to meet Gary.
Good.
You know what it takes.
Because I love to cook, so that'll work out just
It
fine.
will. I wonder if he's ever had real pinto beans. He's from Sewickley, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love, there's places in Pennsylvania I just love.
Mm-hmm.
And other places I hadn't been to, I bet I love them too. You never know.
There's a place called Tiger Deli up there that serves the best breakfast. That's not a Southern breakfast that I've ever had. And they also serve that scrapple, which is just like grill leftovers.
Yeah, I kind of like scrapple. But you know me, I'll eat anything and I'll like it pretty much. I mean, for lunch today I had a bologna sandwich, and that wasn't quite enough, so then I microwaved a hot dog and just ate that. I didn't put it in a bun. I just ate a hot dog. So,
way to go.
Y'all, I'm just a repository for junk these days.
Mm-mm.
As long as it doesn't have any carbohydrates, I'll just eat it right up.
I know you're shrinking.
I know. Well, you are too. We are the incredibly shrinking Weird Mountain Gals.
The smaller we get, the more powerful we are.
I know, it's like vinegar. It's like when you reduce a sauce and it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger.
Stronger, yes.
Ma'am.
All right.
Well, y'all be good if you can, and if you can't, always.
Yeah.
We'll join you. Shenanigans.
Maybe egg it on a little bit too.
No, we never.
All right. We'll see everybody.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Weird Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. You know, I know time is the most important thing we have. So I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.